Hi, I'm Tom and I talk about code. Welcome to another PlayStation 2 game development stream. Today we're going to be working on a little shooter title that I've been working on for a few streams now. Let's have a look at what it looks like before I talk about what we're doing. Let's have a little refresher. Where are we? That's not what I wanted to show. Cool. So we can move around. We are a brightly colored triangle. We can shoot some things. Sometimes when we shoot things, they go away. Sometimes they don't. They seem to be very well behaved at the moment, which is fantastic. I tried this on a real PlayStation 2 and it was not as happy. See that one? Sometimes these things are just like kind of passing through. It seems like the longer a bullet travels, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, there's some weird behavior there we've got to think about. But this is kind of good. Now, one of the things I talked about last stream... hold on, let me get a bigger terminal up. One of the things I talked about last stream that I didn't like was this list. So if we go into our script, if we go into the game state, we have this script, this update script. And because of how Lua tables work, it's hard to remove things from a list of entities. So we have to keep track of this kill list. As we go through and update our entities, we have to keep track of entities that we want to destroy. And then at the end of the frame, we specially go over this kill list and we have to do all this stuff. And it's a bit gross, really, At the end of the day, I just want a list where I can say, hey, add something to a list and then remove something from a list. I don't want to have to worry about dynamic resizing lists, okay? It's a little bit overkill for what I'm doing. So, I designed a better API. I designed an API called slot list, and so if we come in here, I've got a new board for tracking this work. Lua lists have slow random removal. Also, just the ergonomics are bad. This probably wasn't the best written issue, but the code was beautiful. I designed an API. Fairly minimal changes, they were mostly C changes, and I took the chance to refactor a lot of things about how scripts are namespaced as well. So everything is now namespaced. I've currently replicated the old global names for things just for compatibility, but these will go away. Before I do my first release, these will go away, and these new namespaced libraries are going to become the norm for things that were previously globals. I probably recommend still... I might expose them actually through require, so you might, require log will just transparently call through into this. You transparently kind of return this, I guess, or opaquely, I should say, return this, right? You're not going to know that it's not requiring a file, but it'll have the same ergonomics as require. But that's not really the point of what I did. The point of what I did is, well, I wrote some tests, which is great. I created... All this is not to do with what the actual PR was really about. I created slot list. And the idea of slot list is you have a list of slots, you have a list of states. Slots just hold references to Lua objects. You put things in, you take things out, you can iterate over them. It's beautiful. I'll show some code examples in a second. Resist, your first ever Discord member here. Welcome. Welcome. Does that mean you're someone I know? Because I know I sent this Discord around to a few of my friends first. If I know you under a different name, definitely shout out. But yeah, good to have a first time chatter who's been around for a while, it seems. I'm streaming at a slightly different time to usual, I guess, so might have a few different faces stopping by. Cool. So the slot list, we do some mallocs, which is fun. We have to make sure we get garbage collected properly in the end. This all works with this idea of a Lua ref. Okay, so when we push something into a list, we get a ref of it, a Lua ref, which is just a number, which is real, it's hard to explain exactly how clever this is, but Lua is very clever. We take a ref, and then when we remove something from the list, we set its, everything in the list, every slot has a state, we set its state to free, we unref it. So let's draw some pictures to demonstrate this a bit more. This is a slot list, okay? It's a list of slots, so let's call this a slot. Okay, we'll have a couple of these. Couple of slots. Just a couple of slots. And every slot also has an extra box. And this is for the state. Okay, just a couple of boxes. A couple of boxes hang out. So 2 lists of things. The slot list has a head, and the head starts at the 0th index because we're in C. In Lua, we don't never really care about these indices. We don't care about the order of these indices from Lua. So we start at the 0th element. We put something in a slot. We dump a reference to a Lua object. So this points out to our Lua heap somewhere else, okay? And we also set a state, like 1, right? So all of these are implicitly 0 when they're first created. An empty slot has a state of 0. And so we push something in here. Our head now moves. It moves up to the next element. And we put something in here. and let's say we set this to state 2 for some reason. This is still just a pointer into our Lua heap, essentially. It's not a pointer in the C sense, it's just a number that Lua understands how to turn into a Lua object when the time comes. And then we move on to the next thing, and the next thing, and so on and so forth. And once we hit the last slot, when we push something again, we're going to wrap around and try and look for the next thing. So let's say our head's here and our list is in exactly this state. This would mean that we'd put things in these slots and then remove them later. And you know, when there's no actual remove API for our slots. Let's say we let's say we add something to the slot at some point and it states 1. We can call. So and again, let's annotate these with some indices. So this is index 0, 1, 2. We can say set slot to set the state. And if we set the state to 0, it's going to clear the slot, it's going to clear whatever's here, it's going to delete the reference, right? So Lua is no longer going to track this thing, the garbage collector is going to be able to let it go if there are no other references. So let's say we end up in this state, where we have 2 things in the first 2 elements of our slots, the head's over here, we try and let's say something is in here. So the head's over here, let's say 3, we try to push something in, so the head comes over here and it goes, oh no, this slot is taken. What do? Do we panic? Do we stop the world? No. We move on to the next slot and we say, is this slot free? No, it isn't. We move on to the next slot. This slot is free. We can put something in this slot. We put in some value and give it some state. And again, these things are still just pointing out to the Lua heap. Okay, so this is the slot list. These are 2 core API things. Really, we can push just some value. We can set state. So push doesn't take an index. It doesn't care about the state of the list. It just adds something in. Set state takes an index and a new state to set. So set state works by index. Push doesn't know indexes even exist. And what marries these things together? Where can we get an index from? Because you cannot index this list directly at the moment. You can only iterate over it. And so the iterator that we care about is each. Each takes a function. So it takes some function, and it calls that function for every element in our list that has a state that is not 0. Okay, so we've got a much more functional style of iterating over this list. It's not a Lua iterator. Sorry, I'm just going to jump over here. SPM resist on Discord. There you go. This guy got in first. That's awesome. Yes, I do remember the list of resources you sent. Thank you. I do remember now. It's been a little while. The Discord's been around for a little while. Hey, it's doing pretty well. How many members do we have? We got a few. We've got like 50 people, I think. We've got like 70, 80 people in that Discord. That's crazy. I love it. So this is a much more functional interface. I want to wrap it up in Lua iterators at some point, but we don't actually need to do that in a rush. Providing this means that I can provide a Lua iterator on top of it in pure Lua. The C interface really didn't need to be complicated. There is also another variant of each, which is each state, where we say that every state that equals st. So if we say each state 1 and some function, it would the function would get called with this, and that's it, because there are no other slots in state 1. So a slot list is 2 lists. A value and a state which are married together. We need to keep track of this as a reference. We need to remember to tell Lua to forget that it exists when we're done with it so that things can get garbage collected. And we just loop over. If the list's full, that's a failure condition that I don't really handle very gracefully at the moment. And that's about it, right? We can use it. We can add things, we can remove things. It's very fast. It never resizes, so there's a hard cap to how many things there are. I think I've talked about it enough. Let's see what it looks like in code, okay? So let's go really simple here. We're going to jump in. We are going to jump in just a second, sorry. Fantastic. Okay, so where we iterate before, we now just have. Well, actually, hold on. Let's calm our farm a little here. Okay, let's just calm down. Entities. Instead of this, we need to include it first, right? So let's say local SL is require slot list. You have to require this from a file. There's actually a slot list file, which does very little. It will do more in the future. This is where I'm going to define the iterators and stuff. But for now, we just require it like this. Let's go make a new slot list, new, and let's say we can have 50 entities. And similarly, 40 AABBs, 50 AABBs. Let's go 50. Beautiful, beautiful. So now, when we spawn something, rather than table insert, we say self.entities push and that's that. And similarly, when we add an AABB, we just say self.aabbs push, call it as a method, add the thing in. Beautiful. We do need to check these for failure at some point, but for now we won't. She'll be right. So let's start with the draw iterator, because this one's a bit simpler. So where we have an iterator before, now we say self.entities each. So this takes a function. The function takes 3 arguments. They are, and this is documented in my pull request, because I'm a very good boy. Okay, this is documented in my pull request. Each value, current state, and index. Okay, so we get the value, we get the state, and we get the index. For draw, we don't actually care about either of these. We just care about smashing this onto the screen. So we copy this, the body of the old loop, we drop it in here, and Bob's your uncle. That's it. That's all we need to do, right? That easy to port this across to a new Saner list iterator. List system. Okay, so that one's easy. We're also going to completely do away with the kill list, right? Because you can't remove from a Lua table while you're iterating over it, because it changes the indexes. It changes everything. It breaks, right? It blows up. That's why this kill list thing's important. But we can move clear slots mid-iteration, right? We have to be careful, especially if we add something while we're iterating over it. Like, we might end up updating something we didn't mean to update, but at the end of the day, we can remove things freely mid-iteration. That's no problem whatsoever. And I don't think there's any risk. Like, if we remove it mid-iteration, there shouldn't be any risk of Lua garbage collecting something. Like, there should be no... We can't refer to that index later. As long as we never refer to anything in this list by index, as long as we only ever iterate over it, we don't really have to worry about, like, a use after free. That should be fine. That should be fine. I'm kind of thinking about this as I go now. I haven't integrated with this list yet, so we'll see how we go. In this case, because we're going to remove things, we will need the index. So let's go self entities each. It's a function, we get the value. Let's grab the current state this time, and we need the index. We definitely need the index. So what are we doing in here? So if update returns the value of false, then that's our entity's way of saying that it wants to be destroyed, that it wants to be eaten. So if v, let's change our value here to e. If e update is false, then now instead of inserting into the kill list, we can go self entities set state. We set the state at I to 0. This is the same as clearing the list, and I think this is how this works. Set state I state. Okay, so we set the slot, the current slot state to 0. That frees the slot. No one cares about it. So if we go over back to our picture, right? If we have this, we clear it. We say the state is now 0, it's free. That means that we can come in and get rid of this reference to the Lua heap, and we don't actually... We clear out the value. We clear out the value, right? There's now nothing in this slot. It's safe to come around and use it again later. Perfect. And then we call the onDestroy method for the entity. Easy. And then we do this wrap. And this is very similar as well, right? Let's copy and paste this. I don't want to type this all out again. It was painful enough the first time. So we do this, but again, instead of the kill list, we say self.entities set state I 0. And I actually wasn't calling onDestroy here, which is a big oversight. That should have been called. That could have led to a resource leak. Could have been pretty disastrous. So there we go. It looks very similar, right? If you're looking at this and you're thinking this is basically the same, you are absolutely right, but it has much better characteristics. Let's do the same thing for AABBs. I need to think about this. We'll get there. Let's do this a bit more in place, right? We're getting the hang of it, okay? So iterator now turns into iterator now turns into self ABBs, each function. We get the ABB, we get the state, and we get the index. And now we just wrap that up at the end. ABB was false then. So now instead of kill list, we just say self ABBs set state I 0. We clear the state out. Beautiful. And then for everything we so again, we just wanted to have another list iterator here, right? So self entities each function e. This doesn't need to take any other arguments, and beautiful. And then we just clear all the stuff out. Too good, too good. Resist. You're way behind on the PS2 dev series. You got busy. You can't understand any of this. Everything's Lua now, if you haven't gotten that far. It was a really exciting transition, but it's let me do some cool stuff. Don't worry, I don't think anyone else is following all of this either. People will probably have to rewatch it if they really want to understand it. I'm trying to walk the line between understanding this thoroughly and just getting on with some stuff because I'm excited to integrate with it. So there's a lot happening. Let's run this and see what happens. I'm expecting a crash, but we'll find out. Okay, we'll find out. Do you blow up? I mean, it doesn't not blow up, but it doesn't do anything. That's good. Okay. No syntax error, that's fine by me. I'm guessing I've done something with my spawn logic. Self entities push E. So does the spawn thing still get called? Do we see log messages saying spawn player at, spawn game manager at? Okay. So something's happening when we try and update here. Self entities each. Let me check in here. Each FN. It takes a function with this. Push. Let's check up on my API again. I don't know if you can read this well, okay? Sets the state, sets the first free slot to V and sets that slot state from 0 to ST, okay? We need to give push a new state as well. And this we'll just set as 1 for now. It was defaulting to 0. That's quite bad. I probably should consider that case. I don't want to build. What am I doing? Let's see what happens now. Do you blow up? We blow up. Slot in attended as a no value global E. We're using a variable that is not defined, and Lua's trying to interpret it as a global, and it's yelling at me. So 53. The errors from this are weird. Entity, because I called this V and not E. It's that simple. Let's go. This time we've got it. This time we do have it. I wasn't convinced. Okay, our collisions don't work, but other than that, oh no, our collisions do work kind of a bit sometimes. Now what's interesting is it seems like if I get really close, these collisions are a lot more consistent than if I try and, I don't know. Or maybe I just really have to hit the middle. I suspect there's something funky with how these hitboxes are lining up. I think I need to add some debug view for showing hitboxes. I think that's actually probably my top priority right now, okay? So we've got this new list. That's beautiful. Let's commit. Oh, I think I need a different engine hash, maybe? Oh no, this is the right one. We're good. No, wait. I just merged this. Let's grab the one from master. And you might be thinking, why does this work if I haven't got the right engine build? That'd be a good question. Okay, so git commit, use new slot list abstraction. Cool. Let's do some debug rendering. So if we go back into our game script in our draw function, let's go self.abbs each. So for every ABB, we just want to say draw a rectangle. Let's look at our player. Let's look at a rock. Let's look at our rock for how they get drawn. Set color. We'll copy this, okay? So we'll set a color and then we'll draw a rectangle. This is a method. So we want ABB. We'll call this a.pos.x, a.pos.y, a.bound. It's either called bound or bounds. Where are we? ABB. bound, a.bound.x, a.bound.y. This is our x and y, our width and our height. And let's draw a nice red, and let's draw it a bit transparent. And hopefully we have transparency enabled. Let's find out. That should be easy to... Oh yeah, no, we do not have transparency enabled. I mean, the good news... Okay, so A, B, B's are persisting, and B, why do some of these squares not have bounding boxes? That's a bit weird, right? That's very weird. It feels like... hold on. I've got an important question. Okay, I'm gonna process that thought in the back of my mind while I answer this. Did I stop creating those stale stream date branches in GitHub? Yes. Unfortunately, they were a bit weird. Sometimes I would finish streams and just like finish a bit of stuff off after I was in a bit of flux, right? I couldn't decide if I wanted them to be purely what was in the stream or not. My goal is, okay, so if I quickly flick across here, I have a backlog of things to do, and I'm going to try and be very explicit in a stream what I'm working on, and try and link in video descriptions which issues have been worked on in a stream so they can be followed across. But I'm not going to be doing branches for each stream. I mean, just for one thing, that's really messy, and like it bloats out the number of branches quite a lot. It bothers me to look at, you know. Like I would have quite a lot of branches by now if I'd been doing that. So I'm going to try and do Kanban instead, right? Kanban solves all problems, or so I'm told. Beautiful. I really need to set up my drawing. I think, what is this? Is this pixel test? Is this, where does this happen? It's when we set up, what do we set up? Oh, I haven't thought about 2D rendering for a little while. What's the... I want semi-transparent rendering. I mean, it doesn't really matter. That what I got there was enough to debug my issue, but if I really think of the texture, where do we set this? Where do we set this? We have to set the... Oh, it's an AD tag, right? It's a gift tag AD. We set... Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. Let's see if I have anything in buffer. Text1, text2, text reg. It's one of these things. Prim? Shaded textured AA. No. I swear it's the pixel test register, right? This is something super primitive that we're not setting up properly. Set output? No. Z test. All method pass. Oh, it's somewhere around here, right? ZBuffer method is set up environment. What's the register called? I cannot pick it for the life of me. Yeah, no, sorry about the stream branches. If people really wanted to see them, do leave a comment, do get in touch and let me know. I have an email address as well, right? I am always happy to accept feedback. If people think that's really valuable, I can look at a way to keep doing it without driving myself crazy. Maybe like prefix every branch with just ZZ, and then I don't have to worry about them like cluttering up actual branches. They will just float to the bottom. That might work. That's a good thought, actually. I'll write that down for later. I'll make a note of it. Let me quickly just pull... No, okay, I'm getting distracted. What we're doing right now, we're going to work out why these things disappear. And oh boy, do I know, okay? So ready? Watch this. This guy, he's going to lose... One of these guys is going to lose their hitbox as they go off screen. What happened? What bloody happened? Let's go to rock.lua. Okay, let's go to update. So if we're getting killed, then, you know, tell the game state that, then work out our delta, work out our scale, add our movement vector to our position, add our movement vector to our ABB. Perfect, right? What's gone wrong? What's gone wrong? This is beautiful. This is really beautiful. Okay, this is so subtle. You can look at this and it can just completely skip you by. Okay, what's gone wrong? I'll leave this open for a second to the chat while I try and remember if I have a good copy. Do from other? No. Oh yes, I do. I have a copy method. Okay, so I can do just like a raw memory copy here. This is good. Okay. So, no one has guessed. If you're watching the video and you have guessed, you should be very proud of yourself. We're just adding to this, but when this entity gets wrapped around, its position gets updated, but the AABB position does not get updated. So if an entity is moving, off the screen and going into space, he's going to wrap around back to the base of the screen, but the AABB is just going to keep going. It's going to keep going forever. I don't know why some wrap around with the entity and some don't. That's a little bit weird, but basically what we're going to do here instead is say self.AABB copy self pos. We're going to copy the position. Okay, we're going to always jump to our position. Copy from, yes. So we copy from a thing. And this is just a raw memory copy, right? This is basically calling memcopy on the body of the vector. So now when we run this, we should expect to see them stay a bit more in sync. Or we should just see nothing. That also works. Attempted nil method copy. Nil method copy. Because we're calling that on the AABB and not on the vector. Now we're good. Yes, and so it lags behind a little bit, but that's okay. This is gonna work. Oh, that's a little bit of like pseudo 3D even. That's kind of cool. We can fix them lagging behind, but the important thing is these all have AABBs. Now, problem number 2, okay? Problem number 2, these AABBs, they hang around forever. And so this is probably why performance gets so bad, right? I was like, man, sometimes just with 5 or 6 rocks, performance gets really, really shitty. But if all these AABBs are hanging around, that means that our n-squared complexity is getting big really, really quickly, okay? So let's clean this up. This is not being cleaned up properly. When our rock gets on destroy... I mean, I think I've found the problem, guys, okay? I've engaged my brain and I've realized that rocks do not have an onDestroy method. So let's go function rock onDestroy. I've got to head over to my bullet and see what I do. Self.AABB.active. Self.AABB.active is false. And we don't need the state as an argument here. Okay, so let's go. This is going to work much better now. Much better now. Okay, we blow these things up, the AABBs get cleaned up. We're doing resource management. It's happening. It's real. The game is playable. Look at this. This is incredible. Okay? So I'm going to make a button that I can press that's going to toggle AABB rendering, and that's going to make a big difference for how this looks, how this feels. There are a few important things to do from here, but this is shaping up and starting to look kind of like a game. Isn't this cool? Isn't this cool to have running on a real PlayStation 2? Bloody love it. Okay, so. Nice. Nice. Let's go. Let's commit this. Let's commit this. What do we call it? Fix, rock, AABB, position and persistence. Too good. Oh man, that feels amazing. Okay, so we're gonna add a button for this. So let's have a local debug draw flag. Sure, that sounds like a fine name. And let's say if self.debug draw flag. We're gonna early out of this function rather than nesting everything down a level. I'm liking this a bit more these days. We have a case where we say, hey, if something's going on, we early out rather than nesting things. And this is the Golang developer in me. It's slowly infecting me. It's getting into my brain. I'm starting to enjoy writing Go, the simplicity, the one way to do everything. So we're gonna stick to this. So now, what button should toggle this? If b equals pad dot, what's a good button? Pad dot select. We have that binding. Draw debug. I called it debug draw flag, right? Equals not debug draw flag. Can I do that? Let's test Lua 5.4. Yeah, sweet. Okay, it's like Python. That is allowed. That is illegal. That is illegal. If not, draw flag equals this. Flip it. We also need to go into our main.lua, and we need to initialize pad held state pad.select. If we don't initialize it here, it'll never get tracked as a valid button to hold. We'll do this in an iterative way eventually, and I'll probably like try and solve this problem on an engine-wide scale at some point, but for now, let's see what we get here. So, nothing. No life. No signs of life. Debug, draw flag. Yeah, funny that. It's actually not part of self, so that would explain it. Beautiful. I can toggle AABBs on, I can toggle AABBs off, and I can just shoot things. Look at this. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're gaming. Now we're gaming. I think I'm going to have to run to the bathroom. We've had an abnormally productive stream so far, so I have to interrupt it with something trivial like a bathroom run. Okay? Always look after yourself. Stay hydrated. I'm staying too hydrated today. That's my problem. I will be right back. Boom. We are back. How's everyone's evening going? How's everyone's evening going? I've got a few people hanging out here. I love to see it. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. It makes this journey a lot more fun. Sorry. Excuse me while I awkwardly wiggle my chair into position. My microphone stand is broken. This is the only position it goes in. I will buy a new one at some point. Payday is next Wednesday, and this is like probably the most important thing for me to buy at the moment. I don't think I can get an arm. I don't think there's anywhere I can mount an arm on this desk, unfortunately. So it's going to be another one of these crappy boom stage wobbly mic arms. Oh boy. Oh boy. So that's awesome. This works. Stuff is happening. Game is beginning to take shape. Bloody love it. Bloody love it. I need to start working in branches in this repo as well. At some point. You know, it's a good idea. Cool. So what's next on my hit list? Okay. This was great. This went really well. This migration to this new list format, it went really well. And Collision seems to actually be working better than I thought. Not only in terms of things colliding with other things, like it turns out that was just a logic issue, not a collision issue, but also in a performance sense. The poor performance I'd noticed was from AABBs never cleaning up properly. Now maybe we could say something about our API design in that, you know, the fact that we have to do manual resource cleanup like that makes it easy to do something wrong. But you know what? I'll wear it for now. I'll wear it for now. So what do we do next? What do we do next? Where do we go? I've been too productive. I've left myself adrift. Let's look at this text.lua file, okay? We can do this. Let's get text involved. Let's draw ourselves a score, okay? So if I just sneakily, what's a good FP F dungeon crawl asset tiles font and engine asset font, not font, where is big font? Is this what it's called? I think this is what it's called. Oh, I mean, it's already there. Okay. Never mind. So let's quickly check out what this is. Engine asset big font. Yeah, this is the font I want. This is Spleen. Beautiful. So we should just be able to load this in, right? Let's go script text big. Okay, I think I need to give it a font. So I need to load a font. I need to give it to my text global state, and then I can just draw a string. I can print lines. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get some text on the screen. Let's go into main.lua, I guess. We'll go into where we open the game, start the game. We'll load a texture. So it's D2D. Load texture. It's going to be bigfont.tga, and it's going to be, oh, what's the image size? What's the image size? File, engine, asset, bigfont.tga. Yeah, look at that. I love the file command. 256 by 64. Two five 664. I actually don't think we need to supply this anymore, right? Didn't I fix this? This sounds familiar. Yeah, width and height are no longer used. So actually, screw it. We don't need it. So we go font equals this. Load texture. Cool. And then I guess we say t.font equals font. And then we say local t is require text. And let's see if this blows up when we load the game. It might. And it does. Perfect. Just like I knew it would. Just like I knew it would. Loading TGA headers null. Struggling to load the TGA here. Okay. So let's go ls engine dist. We have a file called bigfont.tga. Big font. Oh, I haven't given it. It lives at host bigfont.tga. We didn't give it a full path. And it still struggles. It doesn't look like I'm actually opening a file, right? When a file gets opened, it does this. It does this thing. I definitely have some logging that should clear this up, right? Init Lua startup time, blah 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 blah. Loading TGA header null. Having a hard time actually picking up this image. Drifty.c. Upload texture. We don't even get to upload texture, right? Load texture. TGA.header, yeah. TGA header. So what does header do? Where has this gone weird? TGA get header. Loading TGA header. Null. Have I? Okay, because this is it's saying this is null, right? The file name is null. If I run this, it's saying Loading TGA header, null. So in other words, the first argument is null. So what that tells me is I'm probably calling a method as a function instead of calling it as a method. Let's test that hypothesis. If I go down to load texture, interesting. Should it be a thing instead of a thing? Yes, it's not a method. That's right. I was close. I was backwards. It told me function versus method was kind of, at play. And let's actually simplify this and load it straight into our global font state. So if we come in, let's go to our game manager here, okay? Let's have score. We'll start with our score at 1,000 because that's kind of nice. And when we draw our game manager is now going to get drawn. We're going to say, no, we're not. We're going to say text dot print lines text. Let's check out our text APIs again. Print lines x, y, and then a list of text lines to print. So required draw to do, that's fine. So let's require our font, or our text renderer rather. God, I wrote this so long ago. So print lines, let's draw it at 10, 10, and we'll say hello world. So that's not quite right. That's not quite right. Let's set the color first. 255, 255, 255. Let's set the color first and make sure that it's not something simple like that. That's more interesting. That's weirder. Where is it? Where has it gone? There's nothing there. Oh, hold on. There was attempted to index nil draw 2D. Okay, that was on me. That was on me. Okay, so there's something there. There's something there. If we set this to plain white, we should see something that looks slightly different again. Okay, so our texture's like corrupted or something. Saber, can a PS2 run a custom operating system? There is a Linux kernel port for the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 hardware lacks a few things that are good for running custom operating systems and like a full, cooperative multitasking system. The PlayStation 2 is very much an embedded system. It's very good at running programs where it's, the program rules the world. The PS2, PS3 jailbreak scene is still big, absolutely. A lot of my viewers on YouTube are from South America, where the PlayStation 2 is still very big. I don't think it got officially released there till like 2008 or 2009 or something, so super late. And game piracy, because the console came out late, I guess, game piracy was rampant before it came out. So there's a very big community in South America who are very interested in the console still. PlayStation 3s are just super interesting, right? So the PS2 and the PS3 have really weird and challenging and unique hardware. And so people like me are drawn to them. They want to understand them. They want to make them tick and do cool stuff. So yeah, it's an awesome community. It's an awesome scene. There have been some amazing people who have helped me out to get where I am with my understanding. There are some people hanging out lately who were around in the very early days who worked on real PlayStation 2 games, like, commercial titles. You hope the PlayStation 5 and new Xbox get jailbroken so people can load Windows Linux on it. Has that not already happened with the new Xbox? I think so, right? I know the PlayStation 4 has a Linux fork, right? Because, the PS3 and PS4 just run Unix, right? Is this I think this has already been done. Booting Linux. I'm sure if it hasn't been done for the PlayStation 5, it cannot be far away. But yeah, they're Unix kernels already. Yeah, no, yeah, pretty much PC hardware. Absolutely. You're spot on. Okay, so why doesn't this work? Why doesn't this work? I am no doubt missing something that I've already done. So let's just pull up. Let's go back to our STBig. Zymus hits this on the head. The fact that just PC hardware makes the consoles less interesting, absolutely. Hands down. You know, it would be kind of cool to grab like a PlayStation 5 and play around with kind of doing what I'm doing now. Start with nothing, write raw graphics commands to a buffer and kick them off. Like, you would have a lot more to play with, but it would be so hard, you know, so hard to build anything of value, right? As a single person, they're quite inaccessible to operate on at this level. Of course, you don't want to get banned. Yeah, you would have to do it offline, right? You basically unplug the Ethernet cable. It's not worth messing with. What dungeon crawl? And so if I go into script main t.font is load texture. That's good. VRAM mem texture. Have I not actually allocated the texture in VRAM? I have not. That would explain so much. So much. VRAM mem. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. We'll do this. So we need to tell VRAM, the main chunk of VRAM memory, that, yeah, hey, put a font here. That's great. That is great. And now we're getting closer. We're getting closer. We don't see corruption anymore. We just see not what we want to see. Reading image data. Allocating texture in VRAM. Lovely. Lovely. Texture. On frame state draw, blah, blah, blah. On frame T print lines. We need to upload the texture as well. Holy crap. I've really forgotten my own APIs here, haven't I? So let's go. If not font uploaded, then upload texture. Upload texture T font. That's how you do it. And still not quite there. Calling upload texture. Oh yeah, of course. Hold on, we also need to say font uploaded is true. Get this spam out of there. And look, that's better. We're still not quite there. The Switch modding scene, yeah, I really want to get a Switch. Not necessarily to mod, but they're great consoles. And the fact that if I get bored of it, I can just mod the crap out of it's really cool. Great games, great games. PS3 is the Blu-ray player. Oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's why PS3s sold as much as they did. They were very expensive. Very, very expensive, but cheaper than a Blu-ray player. 100%. 100%. Because the PS3 was subsidized by the games, right? But the PS3 hardware is super interesting, and the way the games use it is, you know, pretty fascinating. Okay. Okay, so upload texture, font uploaded, guess. Okay, this still doesn't work. It still doesn't work. We're still missing something. To font, that's okay. 1010. Are we missing something? Print lines. Print lines. 1010. We're not calling it as a method. Okay, hold on. Let's try something crazy. Let's stop drawing... Oh, no. Yeah, let's stop drawing everything else and just say t.draw... t.print lines 1010 hello. Okay? What happens here? We get nothing. We get nothing. Crazy. Load texture. VRAM texture. Upload texture. Oh. Has to be it. Surely. Surely. Yeah, the PlayStation 3 launch was such an exciting time though. Holy crap. I don't think we ever checked this resident flag, but let's just set it to be safe, right? T font resident is true. Let's see what happens when we set it. Have I broken this? Does this just no longer work? Have I just broken it, right? If I update this to the new engine, will it also break? That's a valid question. That is a very valid question. State update, frame start. If the font isn't resident, upload the font. Curious, I'm planning to do sound stuff at some point. Before I was a programmer, I was a classical musician. I really want to play around with the sound hardware on the PlayStation 2. It just has a bit less bang for buck. I'm probably going to approach a 3D renderer before I do sound, which may be a little bit odd. The sound units in the PS2 are really important, right? They also handle a lot of timers and like hardware level stuff. So yes, but absolutely, I want to write some bangers for PlayStation 2 hardware. I really want to understand it, and I think I'll bring something to the table there. Thank you very much, UDD65, for the follow. Welcome to the family, and whatever the hell this is. Okay, so we upload the texture. This is what we do here. We've done this before. This is a solved problem. Upload the texture. Set a color. That's all good. And then we print lines. We print lines. That works. And that works when we do it in the past. What have I missed? T-font. Let's specify. Just for fun. Let's specify a width and a height and see if that works. And it doesn't. Of course it doesn't, right? It doesn't make any sense. Make sure we set a color. No. Let's get rid of the update as well. Let's get rid of everything here, okay? Let's just try and draw font. And something is still running here, right? Because we're clearing the screen. No, we set up a clear color. We do that. That's part of this. That's fine. We have a draw buffer up here. We bind a draw buffer. That's good. See, we don't even have the draw buffer bind stuff in this code. This is so old. Zymus has been reverse engineering the sound driver from Jak and Daxter. That sounds amazing. I would love to see that. So reverse engineering, like, is this in the public or are you just doing it for yourself? Is there somewhere I can, follow along? Because that would be cool. That would be really, really cool. Let me, just for the sake of copying what already works, I actually think this is just a regression. I think I've just broken textures. Maybe not. Yeah. Awesome. Open source PC port of Jak 1. For people who haven't seen this as well, it's incredible. Valid user. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome. You're able to play back the music. That is so cool. I've really been following this open source PC port closely. The Lisp stuff is really cool. If you have a custom project with Lisp, I'm there, right? I am there for that. Okay, let's check out our logs. Let's hit up trace level logs. And let's have a look at what's happening in this draw, because this is a regression, and this is the kind of thing I really want to avoid. So we load a bunch of crap, okay? Load a bunch of crap. This is great. This is fine. We'll start up. Blah, 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 blah. Bunch of crap gets logged. We define our entities. This is all good. New list, blah, blah, blah. This is a dumb log, but okay. This should also probably be a trace, not an info. Okay, size of blah, alloc, frame buffers, good. Allocate a buffer. This is for a draw buffer. We clear the buffer. We load a TGA, okay? Load a texture, 256 by 64, PSM 0. Yes, true color image. 32 bits per pixel. Fantastic. Allocating the buffer, good. Now we actually load it. Load image data. This many bytes. VRAM alloc. Cool. Base. What is this base? What is this arrow? What should be here? Okay. So if I just like jump across script VRAM Base pointer. So, VRAM alloc. What do we do with base pointer here? Self-head. What is base pointer? This isn't anything. This doesn't exist anymore, right? Texture.base pointer. But what is base pointer? Local. Base pointer 0. This is just 0. This is just the constant 0. Ratchet and Clank on the PC would be amazing. That would, in some ways, be harder to do than this Jak and Daxter thing, I think, because of just how the reverse engineering of it went and how the Lisp infrastructure works. You've been doing stuff in C because it's the IOP. That's unfortunate for you. The Lisp stuff is incredible and amazing, and everyone should learn how it works because it just looks amazing, right? I love the idea of having a running environment where you're just like loading code in and out as you go. It's cool. It's a good way to work. Okay, so this is fine, right? It shows that allocator is increasing. This is dumb. This is a dumb number. We shouldn't even log it, but whatever. It's a throwback to another time. Allocated a texture in VRAM. Yes, that's good. Allocating a GC buffer. Allocating a buffer. Cool. Okay, now we do a bunch of crap. Now we draw a frame. We upload a texture. We go GIF tag, blah, blah, blah. Texture seems to go okay. That's reasonable. That looks fine. 0 equals dumb. Hard-coded constant of 0 is dumb. It served a purpose at one point. It no longer does it. It needs a refactor. Clear screen, blah, 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 draw things, draw sprite, draw sprite, draw sprite, frame end. So this should be 1, 2, frame. So we're trying to say hello, right? H-E-L-L. That is odd. That is odd. Hello. This should be 5 draws, right? This should be 5 draws. Is it possible, wherever I'm going here, okay? Is it possible that if I were to just say draw 2D sprite, height UV. So let's go t.font 1010 256 64 0 0 1 1. Is that everything? Yes. Is it possible that I would be able to just draw this? No. That's very telling. Okay, that's very, very telling. What if I were to just say, like, draw not good. Not good. Frame and draw sprite. GIF tag, frame end. So what's this? It's a second GIF tag. Draw sprite, GIF tag, frame end. GIF tag here. What's in this GIF tag? Binding texture. This must be a state issue. So here's the other thing we can try, okay? We can say PS, before we include draw 2D, we can say PS prog fast 2D. I think it's fast 2D. Require slow 2D. So this is our Lua fallback renderer, and it's very, very slow. Even this, holy crap! I've actually really broken this. This is very upsetting. This is very upsetting. Pushing word. Xerox5, this. Oh, this is very upsetting. What have I done? Pushing 5, pushing 1, E, O, 1. That's fine. Okay. The other thing I actually should try just quickly is to come back. Oh, hold on. I have a bad feeling. Let me just pull. Let me just pull this. If I can remember my password. There we go. That's cool, that's cool. There's no tracking. I think that's fine, right? Do we have build source without recursive? No, we don't have the anyway, that's fine, that's fine. Yep, pull. Why isn't this fast forwarding? Ah, there we go. I wasn't checked out into a branch that made sense. I really need to run an SSH agent at startup or something, seriously. Okay, so make run. Let's see what we get from this. Texture example. Loads. No problem. What is going on? Oh. Is it because I'm doing this? It shouldn't matter, right? I shouldn't need to take a slice of memory to do it. But this is a really good example, right? So I'm trying to move towards a release of this where I push this out to people, and if I can't even work out these APIs, there's something really, really not good here, right? This is either something that needs a lot of documentation or just a lot of love, right? So let's take a slice of VRAM. This is a method, right? VRAM.slice, VRAM mem head. Okay. Let's go VR texture. So we do it from the slice of VRAM. It shouldn't make a difference, but it might. This also loads the fonts before the frame buffers, which shouldn't matter. Then it uploads the textures, and it cools sprite. Really shouldn't matter. Upload texture. We do that. So let's see what happens when I do this. Still nothing. Oh, what have I done? Because this works over here. Okay. Let's try another thing, right? So this loads the texture, but it doesn't upload it to VRAM. So this loads the texture first, right? This basically, as soon as we set up output, before we even set up output, before we do anything else, this loads the texture. Set output. If anyone can see anything like different here, this looks very, very similar. Set buffers, yep. Screen dimension, yep. Clear color, yep. VR's VRAM slice, yep. And then we get a texture from that, yep. Looks good. And then, oh dear, upload texture. If it's not uploaded. Oh, hold on. If not equal to true, maybe? But we're calling upload. We're definitely calling upload. 100%. Upload texture. Set color, sprite, frame end. Set color, sprite, frame end. Let's just clean up that little message there. Okay. We have an exclamation mark where that is not Lua syntax. What has happened? Could it be a set color call somehow, right? Have I somehow broken things here? Because that could break, right? Set color could break, but it doesn't. Weird. What if I change the dimensions of this? What if I go to 64 by 64, right? Surely. And what if I up the size a little bit? What if I go further out? There's got to be some combination of things that's going to make this draw. Frame start, do stuff, frame end. This is so oh no. Oh, I see it. I see what's happened. Upload texture has to be called after frame start, otherwise it doesn't upload. That'll be it. That'll be it. I promise. I promise this is the problem. In fact, let's just go back to print lines 10, 10. This is the problem, surely. There it is. Well, that was a big waste of time. Don't you love it? Don't you bloody love it? Okay, so we're back in business. We're back in business. Let's go to our game manager. And let's print out some score. Okay, score. Love it. We've got a little score there. And this is very slow because we're still trace logging and because we're in... No, we turned our slow renderer off. Let's go down... Oh, no, we didn't. Turn off our slow renderer so we get some FPS. And also... Go back to debug level. We're gonna see... Nice. We move around back at normal speed. So now I need some kind of way to update the score when these guys get dusted. Maybe some kind of callback to the game manager. So I talked about this last stream a bit. Gumi-chan, you love those kind of issues. I don't love those kind of issues, but they come with the job, right? You can't be a programmer without bashing your head against a brick wall for... I mean, that was only, what, like 15 minutes? That's a good day, okay? I have spent far longer on far stupider problems. Okay, so I'm going to go in to the game manager. When we create a rock, okay, we're going to make a rock. We're going to wrap this rock creation in our own function. Okay, so we're going to go make rock xy, return, well, let's go local out is rock.new xy, because then we need to say rock dot, let's just call it CB, okay? Let's call it CB function. So when the rock gets destroyed, we're going to say self dot there we go, self dot score equals self dot score plus 10 or plus 100. You lost a day to an issue that you forgot to comment one line and you couldn't see it. I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Oh boy, I spent a big chunk of today with a Go context timeout issue. And I was like, it just isn't working. The context timeout isn't working. And I literally cannot tell you what I did, but I was trying to explain it to someone and I just tried it again and it worked. And I was like mind blown. Like I swear I did it and the timeout never came into effect and then it just did. Cool. Right? Just like an hour of my life wasted. It's fine. It's fine. These things happen. So now instead of coming in here, we say state spawn, we say self make rock xy, because we're making rocks with callbacks. We're making rocks that reference back. They don't actually like hold a reference here. They just have a way of communicating back, and we're missing a couple of parentheses. That's going to be a problem. That will actually crash our emulator if we try and run this, believe it or not. Okay, so now if we go into our rock on destroy, if self.cb, then self.cb. We just call it as a function. And this will work. First time, every time. No crashes, nothing weird. We're going to come in, and it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. Game.lua72 attempted to index a nil value local E because... Can anyone see this? This is going to be the last thing I fix for the day, okay? Can anyone see what has gone wrong here in our game manager? What have we done? What have we missed? Okay, why are we seeing nils when we're trying to update an entity? Okay? We are not returning anything from this function. So we're saying game spawn or state spawn, but this is nil because it doesn't return. So we just need to come in here, return out. Now when we run, this is going to work. First time, every time. Look at this. And when we break this bad boy, if I can hit it, our score goes up. Look at this. We get points. We got points, boy. Oh, I love it. I love it. This is so good. This is incredible. Oop. God, it's hard to hit these things. I think we might need to increase the bullet speed, potentially. I'm not totally sure. But look at this. This is a little game. You can't lose. It's not a fun game, but you can shoot things and a number goes up. That is like the fundamental, that is the most base game thing you can have, right? Shoot thing, number go up. Gaming like it's 1971, right? I love it. I love it. Everything's a bit crappy. The bullets aren't quite fast enough. It feels a bit shit and floaty, but it's crisp. I'm going to try this out on real hardware. I'm going to get an itch.io page up for this, and people will be able to grab it and play it, okay? But we're not quite there yet. I've promised this a few streams now, and we're still not quite there. But we're making progress. We're making progress. Add score. Okay, and we're going to push this up. Beautiful. So, this has been a wonderful stream. Okay, this has been fantastic. We actually got stuff done. Stuff worked the first time I tried to do it. That's very abnormal for me. Very abnormal. And we've got a few viewers, so I'm going to find someone to host to share this love around. We're gonna share the love on. But, of course, before we do that, I have to say goodbye to all the wonderful people who are going to be watching this VOD later on YouTube. Thank you so much. Seeing the numbers go up, right? We were just talking about this. Shooting things, number goes up. Upload YouTube video, number goes up. This is a primal instinct, and I love it. Every time I see these amazing viewer numbers. People are being awesome and supporting me. So thank you so much to all those people. I'm going to work really hard to get this game in your hands soon. There will be an itch.io page. Okay, you'll be able to download a PlayStation 2 game off of itch.io. I don't know if that's ever been done before except by me. And that was for that crappy game jam I did. And the less we say about that game, the better. So, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. I'll catch you next time.